Hello, everybody. This is Donaylle from Woosah Holistic Health Coaching, back for another fun chat with you where we can help and inspire each other to improve the quality of our mental health, our emotional health, our physical health, and even sometimes our spiritual health. So what I thought we could talk about today was, do you know what you want? It's so interesting. I was having a talk with some girls the other night. We were all on Zoom together, and the conversation came up of why is it that whenever I ask somebody, hey, I'm going to go here, I'm going to go there, would you like me to get you something? When the question comes to, well, what would you like? What gets focused on is, well, I don't want this and I don't want that, and I really don't like this and I really don't like that. Have you noticed how it's so difficult sometimes to get someone to just know what they want? Well, I wanted to take some time to talk about why that's important, because think about how your brain is made. Your brain, it holds every bit of information about you in the subconscious, and it really likes to say yes. But if we're never telling our brain what we actually want, we're not really working with our brain and having our brain work in our favor. We're sending all these confusing messages to our brain, wondering why it's so unclear what the outcome is going to be, because we've not set in any clear intentions for what we actually want. So for the next little while, I would love for you to take some time and write about it, talk about it, think about it. When it comes to leveling up your life or reaching certain goals for 2025, what you want your life to look like, short-term goals, long-term goals, thinking not so much about what you don't want or what you don't like, but rather what you do want and what you do like. And see how much easier it is to reach your goals and see your dreams be realized because you're not sending confusing messages to your brain. Now, the next part is you don't just talk about what you want, and you don't just write about what you want or even daydream about what you want. Everything else that you do needs to be in alignment with that. So for example, let's say that you want to improve your financial knowledge, your comprehension of how money works, you want to improve that. So do you then go to your brokest friend for advice? That would be considered ludicrous. We would never do that. Or if we want to level up our health and really be more vibrant and have more energy, maybe drop some extra pounds or something like that, would we then go to our doctor who we see standing outside of his office smoking and being wildly morbidly obese? That would not make sense. That would not be in alignment with what we're trying to do with our own life. So why would we have a doctor like that? They don't even have the same values as we do for our lives and our health goals. So think about what it is that you want, and then think about, what am I doing to align with that goal? Because like the streets are saying, make it make sense. Your brain, it needs to make sense for your brain too. So if your goal is to be taking more courses, maybe you want to be better at marketing or something like that, do you then go to your friend who cares nothing about that? They don't care anything about what you're talking about to stay on that path to realizing that goal. No, they don't care. They're not interested. They maybe didn't even finish high school. I don't know. But it wouldn't make sense to bring that story or goal to what would end up becoming a dream killer, because you're not in alignment. Let's say you want to start a new relationship, but you don't want it to be just any kind of relationship. You want it to turn into a marriage. Well, are you only hanging out with people that have been in really toxic relationships, never been married, don't believe in marriage, always are talking about how all men are dogs, and all of their girlfriends, that's what they sit around talking about, and nobody's in a healthy relationship? If that is your current situation and you're trying to be somebody's wife, run for the hills. You will attract every nightmare person that there is on the earth, walking like that, talking like that, thinking like that, being around people like that. Because again, birds of a feather flock together. If you're all over here talking about how horrible men are, your chances of finding an awesome husband are slim to none. Gotta upgrade your friends, gotta upgrade your conversations, gotta make sure conversations are matching what your dreams and goals are in order to realize anything and have it come to fruition. So pay attention moving forward, please, to when you're in a group setting, what's everybody talking about? What are they talking about? Is it in alignment with what you're trying to do? I sometimes just sit very quietly in groups and think about, is this a situation that I want to spend a lot of time in, or is this a group I want to spend a lot of time associating with because of what it is that I'm trying to do for myself in my life? So, for example, if I am really working on an abundant mindset, I know that the things that go along with that are extreme gratitude, extreme appreciation, looking for abundance everywhere I can find it, whether it be abundance in beauty, abundance in love, abundance of food, abundance in friends, just abundance, and then recognize it, acknowledge it, appreciate it. That's how you keep your abundant mindset healthy. But if you're in a perpetual situation where everybody around you is complaining about lack and talking about how there's not enough and everything's so scarce and I need a better job and I don't have any clients, and that's the kind of conversations that are happening around you, you're absorbing that negative energy every time you're in that situation. So then you better make sure, if you're in that situation, that you find some way to counter that later, whether it be that you do some abundance mindset work, or you do some personal growth and development. Maybe you read a book on finance, or maybe you watch a YouTube video on the energy of money and how that works. Maybe you do some gratitude journaling to kind of get your mind back in alignment with your values and what it is that you're trying to do. And keep in mind, every interaction is like a mirror to where we're at. So if we're, for example, I remember a time where there was this store across from my shop, and I remember I really loved to go to that store. I went there every day. It was a little Italian grocery, and I loved the people there. I knew them all by name. They knew me by name. So, hi, Donaylle, we got this new stuff. You should try it. We had kind of like a nice relationship back and forth. But then I remember sending someone else in there, and I don't know what was going on with them that day, but I was like, hey, did you go to the store? Did you meet the guys? Did you like them? They're really nice. Did you find something cool? And they were like, it was horrible. Everything was horrible. The people were mean. They were giving me dirty looks. Nobody wanted to help me. They were staring at me crazy. And I was just like, wait, did you go to this store? This store with this name, with these people? Yeah, it was terrible. Never going in there again. And in my mind, I'm like, what in the world? That doesn't make any sense. They're such nice people. But again, we kind of match. We match each other where we're at. So if I'm like feeling joyful and appreciative, and I don't know, I've got a certain kind of vibration that is a very high vibrating energy, and I go into a place, I'm going to get that mirrored back to me with people that are polite and people that are helpful and people that are nice to me. But if I go somewhere with an attitude and I'm vibrating in grief or shame or guilt or apathy or any of those things that don't magnetize the best scenario, it can happen where two people can go into the exact same store and have a completely different experience based on where they're at energetically. If they're down there in the dumps of grief, they might as well just stay home, because everywhere they go is probably not going to be the nicest interaction. Where again, if you're feeling joyful and grateful and positive, you're going to attract positive interactions and more things to be grateful for. That's just how it works. So since that's how it works, we have to be super intentional with who we spend our time with and what we spend our time talking about. So like for me, I love business. I love entrepreneurship. I love coming up with ideas and, what can we do to grow this area? And like there's these new techniques, and there's this new book, and there's this new content creator, and they're talking about how they were able to level up their business when they did this thing. I love those kind of conversations, but it's because I'm an entrepreneur and I want to stay one. I don't want a job J-O-B. I want the freedom to work for myself when I want, how much I want. That to me, time is my greatest commodity. And I'm very careful with how I spend it, with whom I spend it with. And I'm gonna protect that, because I know what's gonna happen if I'm not intentional and I'm just putting myself in these really weird situations where it's maybe super negative or dark or whatever, and that's not what I want for my life. I gotta be careful then, because if I'm just willy-nilly and I'm not being careful with what are we talking about, what are we thinking about, where are we vibing today, I could have that influence me when I'm not looking, meaning I'm not even paying attention, and that's rubbing off on me, or it's lowering my vibrational frequency, and I'm coming down there into shame and guilt and grief with you, and I don't want to, because I like love and above. Because love and above feels really good. It's happy. It's fun. It's energy. It's just where the good stuff is. That's where I want to hang out. So I need to find people that feel that same way, and spend time with them, talking about ideas and talking about health and how we can be healthy. Not that's very different than talking about being sick or talking about disease. I don't want to do that. But I will talk about, hey, what are you doing, now that you're middle age and your hormones are changing? Have you found any new things that have been very helpful for you, and vice versa for me? If I find a supplement or a peptide or some food or some drink or something that can help someone else, those conversations, they make sense. They help you to attract and hold health. They help you to hold well-being. Whereas if I'm just like, hey, did you hear the bird flu's back? And I'm like, every time I open my mouth, I'm talking about the latest disease. I'm sending a weird message to my brain that says, she likes being sick. She likes it. She loves it. She talks about it all the time, which she's totally focused on. Oh, did you hear so-and-so? They got this, and so-and-so got that, and this one's in the hospital. And of course, those things come up. Okay, that's just life. But what are we talking about most of the time? What are we thinking about most of the time? Where are we vibrating most of the time? Please don't misunderstand. You can be a high vibrating human that loves to live at love and joy and peace and all of that. But that doesn't mean that you're not going to have a human moment. We're going to get bad news. Somebody might die. Somebody might get sick. Somebody that we're very close to, there may be, I don't know, something bad could happen. We're human. We're going to have a human moment, and we're going to have emotions that will reflect that situation or scenario. However, that's very different than saying that my dominant vibrating emotion is to be stuck down there in that dark place. We all are going to experience the dip, ebbs and flows of life, ups and downs, peaks and valleys. It's just the way it is. But where do we have our dominant emotion most of the time? Is it at love? Is it a high frequency number where the energy and the high immune system and all of that is? Or are the most of the time we're negative and we're, complaining and we're guilty about something or feeling shame about ourselves? If that is our dominant mental emotion, it's a very low frequency space to be. And when we're in a low frequency place like that, we just aren't going to feel very good. We're not going to have very much energy. We're not going to have a lot of really high frequency experiences. We may have a lot of problems with people. Maybe we get into fights all the time. We go to work and no one likes us, and we go to the party and nobody wants to be around us. That's when you're in a low vibrating state. That's just what happens. We got to work on our dominant mental attitude, our dominant mental state, and get that up the vibrational chart of our emotions so that we can attract better outcomes, whether that be a better friend, we attract a better potential marriage partner. We might get a better job offer because when we came in on our interview, we just had this brightness about us, and they can feel that because the emotions, they ripple out. So, we always say emotions are contagious, and they are. If someone's giggling, we start to giggle. If someone's, Yawning, we might start to yawn because they're tired, we feel tired. If someone's bouncy, we get bouncier. So if we know that's true, and maybe we struggle a little bit, see what we can learn from our higher vibrating friends and our more positive people, our optimistic, healthy. What can we learn from them and let that ripple over to us and have a domino effect instead of it being like misery loves company and we are miserable and depressed, so we go find the most depressed people and we all just like vomit our misery all over each other. That is not going to get you where you're trying to go. I mean, unless you're trying to go to bed, it's going to definitely make you go to bed. But if you're trying to be living life with some vibrancy and you've got big, bold dreams and goals and aspirations and you want to be helping people and you want to add value to the world and you want to be teaching or inspiring or any of that stuff, you got to have energy for that. You got to have health for that. You got to have the kind of magnetism that anybody would even listen to you. And you can't do that when you're vibrating so low that you're not even motivated to get up and get going. So hopefully that helps you to know that it matters what we're talking about, thinking about, what we're daydreaming about. All of it matters because your brain wants to say yes. And it says yes to what you're focused on and what your dominant emotion is. Not when you have a temporary dip, not when you have a human moment, something bad happens and you get sad. That's just normal. But being sad is kind of like you trip and fall. If you trip and fall, what do? You don't just lay there. You get back up and you keep going. That's what you do. And if you don't, that's not normal. Just staying on the ground, people are stepping over you, the rain is coming and you're still just laying there. Not normal. So when the dip happens, okay, feel the emotions, but then get up out of there. Don't stay there too long to where your dominant emotion is not serving you, not today, and not for where you're trying to go tomorrow. I hope that helps. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with me. Please give me a like. Please give me a subscribe. Tell your friends to come hang out with this community that we're building together. And I will see you back here tomorrow. Woosah.